How tough has the fruit business in China become this year? Just look at the fruit vendors. One of them made only 10 yuan in a whole day and was so upset that he threw an entire basket of fruit on the ground. The farmers are all saying that even CCTV is starting to do marketing now, but the market has no customers at all.
When it's unsellable, it's unsellable. Nothing is selling. Each truck is losing more than the last. Who can predict what tomorrow's market will be like? I can't even sell a basket for 30 yuan.
The farmer, heartbroken, said, "If I wasn't forced into this situation, I would never use a bulldozer to destroy tons of mangoes." One fruit wholesaler said,
问我水果生意好不好看?
"People keep asking me if the fruit business is doing well. Well, here's the answer. These were all unopened, just arrived, and look, they're already rotting in the middle." She explains that once she gets this kind of fruit, she can only consider herself unlucky. It can't be sold, and there's no way she's going to make consumers pay for it. A netizen asked a farmer who was transporting fruit,
你刚刚这车倒下去卖了多少钱？
How much did you sell for after this truckload fell?
Not much.
How much per pound?
I sell it by the bucket, not by the pound.
How much for one bucket?
4 yuan.
The netizen was shocked and asked how many pounds were in one bucket. The farmer replied, 30 or 40. The netizen exclaimed, "That's less than 0.1 yuan per pound." Less than a penny. Mangoes are that cheap now? How is that possible? The netizen immediately said, "This year, mangoes in Guangxi are really too cheap. Except for the pandemic period, this is the cheapest year in my 5 years in the fresh produce business. The current market price is about 1.6 yuan per kilo. I've decided to buy 50,000 kilos to give everyone a deal. And every single one is really sweet. If it's not, we'll refund you." At Beibu's largest fruit market, the price of sugar oranges has been continuously low, and there are very few people buying. Huge piles of sugar oranges are sitting by the side of the road, rotting away. One netizen commented, "This is definitely due to high oil prices and highway fees. After transporting a truck of fruit, the cost of fuel, tolls, and labor is barely covered. In the supermarket, all you see are the high profits." Another netizen said, "Eating fruit is too luxurious now. Are you kidding me? My mouth is sore, so I'll just buy some vitamin B2. It's way cheaper than fruit." As one pointed out, the high transportation costs are preventing a lot of fruit from being shipped out of the production areas, so it just rots on the ground. The fruit that does get transported ends up being sold at high prices, making it unaffordable for consumers. One person said, "I just heard rice isn't selling either. Are people not even eating rice now and still eating fruit? Workers aren't making money, so who can afford fruit? Eating rice is already a problem. Rice is already unaffordable. A few months ago, there was a bumper crop of loquats, which has led to a surplus of fruit that couldn't be sold. Farmers, upset with the low prices offered by vendors, chose to crush the loquats on the spot rather than take them back." Some netizens said, "This year's loquats aren't sweet," and others complained that, after trying loquats from different places, all of them had watery taste, neither sweet nor sour. This is likely due to less sunlight this year. Blueberry farmers have also faced a dramatic drop in prices. One farmer said that within just a few days, prices fell to a quarter of what they were, and they couldn't sell the fruit. In the end, they were left with no choice but to feed the blueberries to pigs. A netizen commented, "You can't sell it. I can't afford it. Everything is so expensive here, and these are the small ones. It's not that people don't want to buy, it's that they can't afford it." Another said, "Income has decreased over the past few years. First, there's the concern about pesticide residues, and second, the price is high, but the taste is just average. It's not a necessity, so I'm not buying it." Some even suggested that blueberries might be problematic, asking, if the blueberries are fine, why not process them into juice or beverages? If they're really good, why let them go to waste? Farmers growing misshapen oranges reported that prices had dropped to rock bottom, with many unsold and now only fetching 0.6 to 0.7 yuan per pound. One person said the ugly oranges they bought for 6.99 weren't sweet, and the 12 yuan ones were too expensive. They mentioned that they bought several times online this year and none were sweet. Grape farmers are also struggling, with some selling at just 0.3 yuan per half kilo and still not able to move their stock, leading to some fruit being discarded. A netizen asked, "Why throw them away? You could make wine or juice or even raisins. Isn't that another way to make money?" But another person replied, "There's too much pesticide. They know it and won't eat it themselves." Someone added, "This stuff really shouldn't be eaten. My kid bought a small box for 20 yuan, and after eating it, his mouth swelled up for the whole day." Others pointed out that cheaper pesticides are being used, but they said, "My friend's family uses BASF, Bayer, and some Japanese chemicals. Those pesticides are safe to eat after 2 days because the residue is within acceptable limits." Finally, there were reports of large quantities of watermelons going unsold. Farmers said that few people came to look at the melons, and even fewer bought them. In fact, no trucks came by that day, and they ended up selling none. Despite repeatedly assuring customers that their watermelons were high quality, with a sugar content of 14, the market just wasn't there. The situation is really tough for farmers right now. Many netizens have commented, "Everyone, be aware, watermelon also contains growth agents. Don't send your money to the hospital." I once bought a big watermelon from a 3-wheeled cart. The flesh was all red, but near the rind, the pulp was so tough I couldn't even bite it. Since then, I haven't bought watermelons from any roadside vendor, no matter what kind they sell. I only buy the expensive one from fruit stores, but sometimes even they're not good. Now I can't afford them anymore. Strawberry farmers don't eat strawberries, and farmers who grow melons don't eat melons. If you know, you know. Some netizens even joked, "This is all caused by foreigners. It's the work of foreign hostile forces." One netizen reveals that large amounts of red Fuji apples are unsold, with nobody wanting them even at 0.1 yuan per pound. What are the farmers supposed to do? Another said, "In the past, one apple could fill a room with fragrance. Now I can't smell anything, even if I have a pile of apples at home. Now apples don't have that apple scent. They just smell like preservatives." A netizen said, "In fruit-producing areas, the locals call rotten and spoiled fruit blind fruit. Many farmers sell this blind fruit to a fruit vendor known as Old Wong. Old Wong's tricycle, filled with these blind fruits, is piled high with rotting, foul-smelling fruit. Attracting flies, many fruit suppliers in producing areas send this blind fruit to well-known juice companies, such as Huiyuan's branch in Dangshan, Anhui, and Deli's branch in Fengxian, Jiangsu, and Huiyang's branch in Pingyi, Shandong. Blind fruit is the raw material used to make their juices. Netizens mentioned that these juice factories have strict inspections. Only the truck drivers transporting fruit are allowed to enter, and their ID cards and relevant documents are checked. Once the trucks enter the factory, they must go to designated areas. From the moment the truck enters the factory until it leaves, the driver cannot get off the truck, and phones are strictly prohibited. The factory workers unload the blind fruit into a fruit washing tank, where it is rinsed with water that may contain disinfecting agents. After being washed, the fruit is directly moved by a conveyor belt into juice extractors. Industry insiders say that food additives are being used to enhance the color and flavor of juices. For low-concentration juices, artificial flavoring is used to mimic fruit aroma, color additives to make the juice look appealing, and sweeteners, sour agents, stabilizers, color protectors, and preservatives. And preservatives are also added. Residents living near the factories say they no longer drink fruit juice at all. Netizens have stated that Huiyuan is the most shameless beverage brand in China. They're the worst when it comes to using rotten fruit. Despite this, they still claim their products are additive-free and free from harsh chemicals, but anyone who tries it knows immediately it has a strong smell of preservatives and mold. Others have pointed out that the fruit market has already been struggling, and on top of that, many fruit vendors are using gimmicks and scams, taking advantage of people's naivety and making things even worse for the market. Some say, in recent years, the fruit and vegetable industry has seen all sorts of new names and varieties popping up, with various fruit scams making the headlines. The most famous one is so-called fruit broccoli. He explains that the fruit broccoli and mini broccoli sold in the market are actually just small florets of regular broccoli. Many vendors claim that it's higher in nutritional value, green, natural, and additive-free, and it's popular among people trying to lose weight. One influencer posted a video claiming, "It has the fresh taste of vegetables and the sweet aroma of fruit." They even said that this fruit broccoli is rich in dietary fiber, with one floret being equivalent to 15 bananas or dragon fruit. Apart from being easy to prepare and convenient to eat, some vendors promoted it as a Japanese variety with high nutritional value, 100% natural, no pesticides, and a crispy, tender texture. Fruit broccoli is actually the inferior product that farmers don't want. They pointed out, "Just look, this is just a regular big broccoli, and they cut it into small florets. Or it's from the second harvest or side branches after the first round of broccoli is picked, or it's the small ones that don't grow well at the top. By adding the word fruit before the name, they can sell it at a high price. This is just an insult to our intelligence." Netizens also ranked golden plums as second on the list of produce scams. They look like transparent gems with a red-yellow hue and a plump, bouncy texture. They're often advertised as being so sweet that they make your throat ache. But this golden plum is neither plum nor apricot. In reality, golden plums have nothing to do with plums at all. They're actually small peaches. Here's the catch. Where do so many small peaches come from to make these golden plums? Well, when growing peaches, farmers must thin the fruit, removing the smaller peaches and leaving the larger ones to grow. This process allows the remaining peaches to become bigger and sweeter. Therefore, these waste peaches end up being used to make golden plums. To make them sweet, red, and tasty, you can probably guess how many additives have been added. Ranked third on the list are the rare exploding peach. Some people claim that this type of fruit is a new variety. While it may look ugly and be expensive, it's said to taste sweet. In reality, exploding peaches are winter peaches with cracks. These are commonly found in late-maturing varieties like Red Frost, which ripen in October. These late-season peaches tend to have a higher crack rate. When the fruit is harvested in orchards, cracked peaches are considered substandard. But with marketing hype, they're turned into an internet-famous fruit. If the cracks lead to mold, it could make you sick. Ranked fourth is the wild kiwis, sold in tourist areas. These are small kiwis, often promoted as wild. While it's true that there are some wild kiwis that grow in the mountains, they're small, and you'd have to climb trees in the wilderness to harvest them. Not only is that a lot of effort, but the yield is also very low. If these wild kiwis were really harvested and sold to tourists, what would the local monkeys eat? So where do these wild kiwis come from? They're actually small kiwis or substandard fruit from nearby kiwi orchards, labeled wild once they're brought to tourist spots. Finally, netizens mentioned the chili mango, which is characterized by a seed that's as thin as a toothpick and is extremely rare. In truth, it's not a special variety. It's just a malformed fruit from a phoenix mango tree that hasn't developed properly. Normally, the phoenix mango looks like this, with a seed that's as thin as paper and a sweet, fragrant taste. Areas that don't receive enough sunlight can produce underdeveloped small fruit, which turn out like this, smaller overall, and of course, the seed shrinks too, becoming like a toothpick. In the past, such fruit wasn't collected, but who knows which genius came up with the name chili mango? What was once an unremarkable substandard fruit suddenly became much more valuable. Domestic fruits dressed in foreign names and rebranded, causing their prices to double. A netizen filmed at Shanghai's largest fruit wholesale market, Shijiao International, and said that now it's not just cherries and sunshine rose grapes that are unsellable. Nothing is moving. Another netizen commented, "I used to run a delivery service in Shanghai last year, frequently going to this market. It used to be so busy that you had to wait for a long time to load, but now it's like this." Another person wrote, "Who's responsible for this? The farmers need to reflect on it. Soaking in chemical solutions and waxing, they're reaping what they've sown." One netizen sarcastically said, "Use high-tech powders and sell them again next year. They won't spoil, so what are you worried about?" Another person said, "Who would even dare to eat them? I haven't eaten any fruit lately. I bought a few apples and left them there for months. They haven't changed shape or spoiled." An netizen from Shandong said that this year, the fruit market really collapsed. He explained that around his area, there's the largest local fruit wholesale market. In previous years, you couldn't even drive to this market at this time because customers were backed up far outside the market. There were even special workers coordinating traffic to avoid overcrowding. This year, however, the roads are clear, and there are always parking spots in the market parking lot. Some vendors have even closed by 5 or 6 p.m. He added that it's expected that consumers avoid cherries and sunshine rose grapes due to quality concerns, but the sudden collapse of strawberry sales was a huge surprise to the vendors. This year, strawberries selling in the market for around 10 yuan, and even the best quality ones are hard to sell for more than 20 yuan, something that would have been unthinkable in previous years. One person believes the dramatic price drop is due to the initial scarcity of strawberries. In the early season, there were so few strawberries available that they were almost priceless, which caused prices to rise sharply. But later on, as the strawberries flooded the market, the supply outpaced demand, and the market became saturated. The key reason behind this is the economic downturn, which has led to a decrease in consumer spending power. This is the root cause of this year's fruit market struggles. Now, many physical fruit stores and fresh markets are facing severe operational challenges. While lowering prices is seen as a main way to stimulate consumption, the reality is the opposite. Fixed costs like rent, labor, and utilities leave vendors with a profit margin of only 20 to 30%. To retain customers, many vendors are forced into price wars, further squeezing their profit margins. And ultimately, many businesses are struggling to survive. One netizen summarized the fundamental reasons behind the collapse of China's fruit market. First, the foreign trade sector has been impacted by sanctions, leading many physical and tech companies to shift to fruit farming, causing a severe supply glut. Second, there's an emphasis on increasing yield at the expense of quality. Overuse of fertilizers, pesticides, hormones, and other additives has made the fruit look better, but has significantly reduced its quality and taste. In the end, consumers are rejecting these fruits, opting to buy imported ones even if they're more expensive. Third, transportation issues have contributed. Many truck drivers have seen their incomes drop, while road tolls and fuel prices remain high. Strikes have occurred, causing a decline in transport capacity. As a result, many fruits can't be delivered from the production areas, even though some supermarkets have high prices. And finally, and most importantly, with the economic downturn, the collapse of the real estate market, and a significant drop in household income, combined with the ongoing outbreaks of COVID-19, the population has been steadily shrinking, especially among young and working-age people who are the main consumers. This has led to a sharp decline in the public's ability to buy fruit. People who want to eat can't afford it, and those who can afford it don't want domestic fruit. These interrelated factors have ultimately led to fruit rotting in the orchards.